Spend too much time on this. Just wanted a brief update for those of you who aren't signed on yet. So here we go. So what is ID Shield Monitor? It monitors everything about your person, so social security, date of birth, driver's license, that kind of information, and then also cash. So your bank accounts, your credit cards, debit cards. And it just recently has added social media.
Well, it monitors social media, and it will come back to you. The first alert I got was that I had too much public information. Turned out my phone number was out there, and I wasn't aware of it. So that monitored for me and told me that I needed to change, to take that off there.
Yeah, so it'll go through each account that you put into the site and check and make sure you don't have too much personal information so that somebody else could go on, since these are public sites, and take that information.
This is very new to what they've done in the last several months from a monitoring standpoint, adding this.
So one of the great things about ID Shield as well is you can call them at any hour. They'll help you out. They've got a hotline number and any emergency. And recently, which I'll talk about in a second, they just added a mobile app. One of the big things that they focus on is restoration. So when you do have an issue, somebody steals your identity, they're going to work with you. You'll sign a limited power of attorney, and they'll go in and they'll start calling companies or anybody who will help you get that restoration and your identity back. So it's great from that.
They're private investigators that are trained in this. It's the largest company that we have in the United States, actually worldwide. And you sign it, like Evan said, the limited power of attorney, and the goal here is restoration and resolution. So it doesn't only monitor, but then it's the rest. Because how many, when my miles were stolen out of my Mileage Plus account, I had not been registered yet with ID Shield. I spent 6 hours on the phone with the call center in India to get it taken care of. We want them to be able to do that.
So this slide just says that they're the oldest new name. They've been around for a long time. They've helped nearly 10,000 individuals with restoration alone. And there's been over 200,000 consultations to help restore as well. So they've been doing it for a while. ID Shield is very good at what they do, and they're only getting better as hackers are also getting better. So.
And just so some of you, if you haven't heard this, we have a client advisory board, and about a year and a half ago, the client advisory board said, would you please research identity theft programs for us? We're hearing about these things, we should probably be on something, we should be monitored. So we started the process of researching them, and ID Shield doesn't do any advertising. So they're not something that you would find on your own necessarily. It really is a word of mouth. And we were actually at a meeting when someone came up to us and said, do you offer any identity theft protections to your clients? And then he started to share with us. We went to some meetings, and then we started comparing this to other programs that are out there. And so our client advisory board asked us to do this, and that's what they do, is they work on behalf of you to make suggestions to us. And we decided that after all of our research, this was the best one that we could find and the most reasonable cost. And so that is why we've been on a campaign to get all of you protected so that we don't have to have the claims and be talking to Detective Dalton to get things fixed.
Yeah, and then lastly, as I mentioned, they have a mobile app now that's up and running, and this just makes it even more accessible, makes it easier to use. If you're out on the go and you realize something goes wrong, well, now you can get on, you can have that notification sent directly to your phone, and you can begin that process a lot faster than waiting until you get home, get on the computer, and do it that way, or have to make a call.
The night that the Equifax information hit the media, I had, because I belong to ID Shield, I had an email, I had a text, and I had the app. I had an alert, little flashing thing on my alert, on my app, telling me to look. And it talked about the Equifax breach, check your credit, make sure you were not impacted. It told you how to go look at the Equifax link, which I put in an email to all of you, and how to see if you were one of the potentially impacted ones of the 143 million. I spoke with many people and did a ton of research on Friday. We actually spent a great deal that evening. I was up a lot of the night writing the email, getting all the information together to get that email out to you guys first thing in the morning. So we were very, very proactive with getting the information to you. But then the rest of the day, we were doing a lot of reading and looking online. None of the other organizations, not one of them that we came across, LifeLock, American Express, I could rattle off a slew of them, notified their customers on Thursday about it. We had several clients email us on Friday and say, oh, ID Shield told us yesterday, but some of you that are in the room.
So with that, if anybody has any questions, we can answer them for you. Yes, sir.
Okay, if there's one place that's got all my information now, because I signed up for it, it's IT Shield. They've got all my information on all my accounts. How do I know they won't be breached?
Well, that's the security piece that we've looked into, and when you go back, they've been around for a long time, and they're really good at what they do. They've got more restoration and resolution, but their systems are as secure as they come. So they've got the security. Now, we thought Equifax would be hacked. You know, we have to hope. We've got multiple systems that Stefan is going to share some of the things that you can do. You have to hope that they're not breached. And with the systems that they have, that's what we're hoping for. They've not had a breach yet, but you know, I understand your concern.
Terry, when you check your credit report, you have to give them information. Equifax, they ask for certain things. Do you give that to them?
Well, there are 3 credit reporting agencies, and those people are trying to make sure it's you. So you should have a PIN with them. You should not have to give your social security number, you should have a PIN.
I have a question. I think you said that there's a certain maximum number of credit cards you can register. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it was.
10.
Was it 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it sign up as a family or individual?
Well, and we have brochures at the back of the room. So family memberships are a couple and up to 8 children under the age of 18. If you're over 18, because 18-year-olds can get their own credit cards, so they would need to have their own account. So a family is parents and 8 children up to the age of 18.
Well, with that said, also, the individual plans are $10 a month, so it's very affordable as well, so it's not like you're breaking.
And it's $19.95 for a family or a couple, so, and it's significantly less expensive than LifeLock. You'll see the brochure, we have brochures in the back if you're not on ID Shield already. You can also email brochures to you to take a look at the comparisons right on them.
I have a question.
Is there any benefit, we have the ID Shield, but Equifax is also offering protection.
Do you want protection from the company that's been hacked?
Well,
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it.
Is there
free.
It's free, but you can be hacked for free from a lot of places.
Yeah, well, that's the question. Is there any benefit to having more than one place watching and monitoring?
I don't think so. You know, if you didn't have a comprehensive one, you know, I've had some people say, oh, well, I get offered this through my employer. Well, what does it offer? Well, it's going to look at my credit cards. Well, does it do your health insurance? Does it do your social media? Does it do, and if it doesn't do those things, then yes, more than one. But if the coverage that you have is comprehensive, then you probably don't need to have multiple things. It just depends on what the coverage is, the protection that you have. And the big thing, you know, a lot of times people say, oh, it was monitored, I got the notification. Do you have restoration and resolution? Because you want to have help to fix the situation that occurred.